As the latest hours unfolded within the Manchester City universe, a sequence of events emerged that, although seemingly unrelated, form a much deeper portrait of the moment the club is living through, a moment of silent transition, of major decisions being taken behind closed doors, and of key players facing changes that could redefine the future of the squad. For this reason, this script dives into everything that has been discussed, carefully analyzing each piece of this blue puzzle. And to begin, there is no more symbolic figure in this story than Bernardo Silva, the player who for almost a decade has shaped the team's rhythm, the personality of the midfield, and the mentality of the group itself. The atmosphere surrounding Bernardo has never been simple. Since arriving from Monaco in 2017, he has become more than a technically gifted footballer. He has turned into the emotional thermometer of the team, the one who speeds up when the side looks sleepy and who calms things down when everything becomes chaotic. But now, with his contract nearing its end at the close of this season, any movement he makes has become a reason for deep analysis, almost as if every gesture carried clues about his destiny. And recently, the Portuguese midfielder shared a perspective that has left supporters torn between hope and unease. According to what he revealed in an interview given in his home country, Bernardo admitted that he enters this final season with the sense that an irreversible choice is about to be made. Yet at the same time, he made a point of emphasizing the pride he feels in wearing the City shirt and in having become one of the experienced voices within the squad. He knows he has already crossed the line between player and reference point. He has become someone whose opinion carries weight, whose posture inspires the younger players, and whose absence would be immediately felt. The curious part is that despite so much public uncertainty, internally, he has already made a decision. But the club will not know officially until the spring of 2026. And this opens the door to two interpretations. Either Bernardo wants to give the board time to prepare a smooth transition in case he leaves, or he intends to ensure that any announcement is made calmly, without pressure, and without jeopardizing the team's focus in competition. Whatever the scenario, the feeling is that we are witnessing one of the most delicate moments since the Portuguese midfielder landed in Manchester. It is important to remember that the club, under the leadership of sporting director Hugo Viana, chose to allow him to enter the final year of his contract, not because they doubted his value, but because they respected his wish to reflect without haste. There were giant European clubs monitoring his situation. There was strong interest from the Middle East. But none of that changed the way City handled their number 20. The respect remained intact, as did the mutual trust. Meanwhile, Pep Guardiola continues to see Bernardo as the ideal model of a player for his philosophy. The manager has always made a point of praising his tactical intelligence, his ability to interpret spaces, and his versatility. In an older interview, he even said that as long as he was City's coach, Bernardo could stay forever. This kind of statement reveals the depth of their connection. But football, even when shaped by emotion, is also defined by cycles. And perhaps this cycle is nearing its end. The City squad is undergoing a silent reconstruction, shaped by decisions designed not only to maintain the current level, but to project what will come in the next 5 years. And the uncertainty surrounding Bernardo's future fits directly into this context. The board seeks youth, physical explosiveness, and the ability to adapt to different systems. And this is precisely where another name has begun to gain momentum, Elliot Anderson. But before we reach him, there is another critical issue that has troubled the coaching staff. The two players who are dangerously close to a Premier League suspension. It is almost ironic that a club so organized, so accustomed to controlling details, now finds itself at the mercy of a single yellow card. And in the case of Donnarumma, the goalkeeper who has become a symbol of the team's new phase, the situation is even stranger. In just 10 matches, Donnarumma has accumulated 4 bookings, an extremely rare occurrence for a goalkeeper. This not only exposes the level of tension in recent games, but also highlights how much the team has been pressured, attacked, and challenged. In previous seasons, City dominated possession and the rhythm of matches to such a degree that opponents rarely sustained enough consistency to generate this kind of mental wear. But this year, with a heavier schedule, a squad that has undergone changes and rivals who have strengthened, the level of demand has intensified. Bernardo, meanwhile, has collected 4 cards in the first 13 rounds. In his case, it is no surprise. He is a constant engine, involved in every defensive and attacking transition. But the fact remains, both are one booking away from suspension, and this could mean losing fundamental pieces during one of the most turbulent periods of the season, December and early January. This stretch of the season is often brutal. Matches every 3 days, long trips, pitches frequently damaged by winter, and opponents desperate for points. Losing players to suspension at this moment can be costly, and Guardiola knows this better than anyone. The manager has always valued consistency at the end of the year, that period when many titles begin to be defined quietly. And now he stands at a crossroads. Risk his most important players or rest them and allow others to take on greater responsibility. City's upcoming schedule includes trips to Fulham, Crystal Palace, Nottingham Forest, and Sunderland, as well as home fixtures. All matches with very different styles, opponents fighting for survival, relying on pace, sitting deep, or exploiting long counterattacks. Each of them demands different decisions in positioning and intensity. For players on the brink of suspension, every tackle becomes a risk. And it is in this tense atmosphere that another story emerges. Quieter, yet equally strategic. The explicit interest in midfielder Elliot Anderson. The Nottingham Forest player has become one of the surprises of the season. A midfielder who combines intensity with strong reading of the game, who carries the ball with authority, and who, even in a team battling near the bottom of the table, has managed to attract the attention of at least 3 Premier League giants. But according to recent reports, City are ahead. So far ahead that Hugo Viana has supposedly watched the player more than 10 times. This does not happen by accident. It is a calculated, consistent move, typical of a board that rarely takes a step without planning. The idea is not for January. The conversations, according to reports, point to the summer of 2026. And the most intriguing part is what Anderson has allegedly told his inner circle, that if he leaves Forest, City should be his priority. This simple detail changes everything. A young, promising player telling people privately that he sees City as his ideal destination is no trivial matter. It indicates an alignment of vision, a compatibility of projects. And inevitably, it sparks the debate over the natural succession in midfield should Bernardo choose to seek a new challenge. Anderson does not possess the same technical refinement as the Portuguese midfielder. Not yet. But he offers attributes City value: physical strength, aggression, stamina, intensity. And under Pep's guidance, everyone knows players with that foundation evolve explosively. It has been the case for so many others over the years, which is why it is no coincidence that this storyline has gained strength precisely now, at a moment when Bernardo's future appears to be approaching a climax. None of this is definitive. Nothing has been publicly decided, but the combination of factors creates a narrative no City supporter can ignore. The captain on the brink of suspension, the goalkeeper at risk, the veteran midfielder reflecting on his future, the young standout being monitored obsessively by the board, and all of this unfolding within the same few weeks. What City are building is not just a squad, it is a new era, shaped slowly, piece by piece, choice by choice. And the next decisions may define how the club enters the next decade, with Bernardo as the leader of continuity, or with a deeper renewal that opens the door to new faces, new dynamics, and new protagonists. While this board of possibilities reshapes itself, it is worth noting that every element of this moment at Manchester City does not happen in isolation. Everything is interconnected. Every detail directly influences the next. Therefore, to understand the real weight of the decisions approaching, it is necessary to look at the full context, as if we were facing a grand narrative unfolding in chapters and presenting us with signs, tensions, and choices that may shape the club's path for years to come. The Bernardo Silva situation, for example, is not only about whether a player stays, it is also about what his potential departure would represent for the team's identity. Because Bernardo is not merely a technical midfielder. He is an extension of the way City interprets football, a symbol of the idea of control, intensity, and situational intelligence that Guardiola has always demanded. Losing someone like that is not only losing quality on the pitch, but also losing an emotional pillar, someone who embodies certain values within the group. This is why the board handles his case with almost surgical care. The club knows that, should he choose to leave, it will not be an ordinary farewell. It would mark the end of a silent yet deeply meaningful era. And it is precisely at this point that the pursuit of Anderson gains strategic contours. City does not act on impulse, especially when it comes to midfielder. The position is the heart of the system, the mechanism that sustains rhythm, pressure, and ball circulation. Even though Anderson is still far from his peak, he represents the kind of player who can shape the future. And the way the technical staff have spoken about him, combined with internal interest revealed behind the scenes, shows that the club sees in him a rare potential. Someone who can grow within City's structure and evolve into a key component. But for that to happen, the present must be considered, not only the future. And the present brings a real and immediate complication that requires practical solutions: the imminent suspensions of Donnarumma and Bernardo. With the Portuguese midfielder one booking away from punishment and the goalkeeper experiencing an unusually turbulent disciplinary season, Pep knows his ability to maintain competitive balance could be affected. City faces a run of matches that, although not frightening on paper, hides dangerous traps. Desperate teams, difficult pitches, long trips, constant pressure. Any slip can cost points, and any unexpected absence can throw the planned structure off balance. The manager, who has always been obsessed with control, now faces a scenario in which he cannot control everything. He must manage minutes, emotions, and even the players' temperaments to avoid unnecessary bookings. And for a team built to operate at the edge of intensity, this is not simple. Bernardo makes many tactical fouls because his role demands it. Donnarumma, on the other hand, has been constantly tested by a higher volume of shots, long balls, and pressured situations, which increases the chances of clashes, protests, and cards. Both are entering a period that demands nerves of steel, and while the present requires quick responses, the future demands vision. This is where the situation begins to fit together more clearly. Because if Bernardo truly decides to leave, it will not only be his technique that will be missed, it will be his mentality, his sense of responsibility, his ability to lead without raising his voice. Anderson, as talented as he is, does not arrive at City to immediately replace that. He arrives as someone to be molded, someone who needs time to adapt and evolve within a complex system. This is why the club makes long, carefully planned moves, studied with patience. However, there is a detail that cannot be ignored. Anderson is said to have told his inner circle that if a move happens, Manchester City is his first choice. This sentence, simple as it may be, carries enormous weight because it reveals not only admiration, but a genuine desire to be part of the project. When a young player sees a European giant as his priority destination, it signals alignment. And no club wins major competitions without alignment between ideas and ambitions. What emerges, then, is a narrative in which past, present, and future converge. Bernardo representing the history and emotional foundation built since 2017. Donnarumma symbolizing the present, with its immediate challenges that may shape the team's performance in the short term. And Anderson representing tomorrow, a path that may begin quietly, but has the potential to impact an entire new generation of supporters. City fans, observing all this closely, understand that they are living through a unique moment. It is not merely about transfers, bookings, or rumors. It is a phase of transition as profound as it is silent, where crucial decisions are made far from the spotlight, yet will resonate for many years. And this transition unfolds while the club continues competing at the top, fighting for trophies and writing new chapters in its modern story. What remains now is to watch the next steps, to see whether Bernardo will continue his journey at the Etihad or seek a new challenge next summer, to follow whether Donnarumma will manage to avoid the booking that could sideline him at a critical moment, and to wait and see whether, in the coming months, Elliot Anderson's name becomes an increasingly frequent presence in City's internal discussions. As all these stories intertwine and the future of Manchester City continues to be built step by step, it becomes clear that every detail matters. Every decision carries weight, and every move behind the scenes can determine not only the next season, but the entire trajectory of the club in the years ahead. This is why it is so important to follow everything closely, to understand what is unfolding, and to stay on top of every new development. If you want to keep receiving in-depth analysis, fresh information, and interpretations that connect each piece of this vast blue puzzle, please leave your like right now and subscribe to the channel.